morning, everyone. How are you? I am fine. It is May. It just started and I already don't know. It is May 3rd. That means it's that time of year. Means that it is stitchmaynia time. Yay! It's basically where you start a new project every day for the entire month, which is nuts. I know that that's kind of the cool thing to do, but that's a lot of projects to have going at one time, and it's kind of intense, at least for me. So yeah, I thought I might use stitchmaynia time to be more like finish mania. So, do you remember this guy? My sugar skull? He is so cool. I love him. I finished this guy a long time ago, and I love him. He's a really cute sugar skull. And I stitched with, kind of from stash. I used whatever I kind of had that worked in the pattern. I even used machine thread for those yellow accents, the yellow backstitching. That is sulky machine embroidery thread. So you would use it for quilting or, running through your machine. But I use all my threads. I love them all equally. So I have obviously a challenge because I stitched this on a small piece of Ada. So I have an interesting creative challenge here to finish this guy. I've got some stuff that I'm going to do that with. Another one that you may recall is my Dragonfly. I finished this Dragonfly quite some time ago. Dude, I love this pattern. I think I'm going to bead it a bit because it needs just a little sparkle or something. So that's what I'm going to do, I think, to bring it kind of out of its shell a little bit. Another fun one, I mean there's tons, but another fun one is Edgar. Isn't he so fun? I love this. Super cool, super fun. I want an ornate black frame for him. I also want to add some beadworking to this as well because I've got some really cool beads. I've got glow-in-the-dark ones, and they're just so cool. I even got some glow-in-the-dark floss, DMC, so I'm thinking of adding some backstitching or something with that just to give this more of an ominous kind of glow. But yeah, I think it turned out really well. He's been sitting in my closet forever. And that's a shame because it's a really fun pattern. Here is the brain. Do you remember this brain? I've had this pattern for like a year, and I was done this half, the black and white half of the brain, for quite a while, and I got like some of the stitching up here done until I just got it in my head I needed to finish it. So that's what I did. This is the very first project I've ever done on even weave. It's just some Charles Craft 28 count. It was a ridiculous move to try and do this kind of a project for the first time on even weave, because if you don't know how to count anything and you're doing a completely covered piece like this, that's nuts. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm not done with this yet either. The stitching is done, but if you can see, there are some beads on the gray. They're silver check glass seed beads. They're about a size 10-ish. And on this side, I've got actually, on the colorful side of the brain, I actually have a stump work piece that I'm going to insert in once I'm finished making the elements. So that it'll be, I'm actually going to probably hang it up like this so that there's a bit of room for the piece of stump work that I want for the colorful side. But doesn't that look freaking awesome? I love this pattern. It is amazing. When you look at it close up, it's kind of like when you see an impressionist painting close up, or even a pointillist painting, it looks like absolutely nothing, but then you get away from it and it looks like a photo. That's the way this project is. It looks like absolutely nothing, like when I'm 2 inches away from it with my nose, but from a distance, looks like a picture. It is so cool. Love that. But yeah, I want to do some beading on this guy and probably frame it and hang it in a hoop, just because these hoop marks are going to be next to impossible to get out. So I might as well just finish bead working and do my stump work and then just throw it back in a hoop and call that done. The pattern is by Lolita Made. I think that's the name of the Etsy store. It's really fun. This is the first time I've ever cross-stitched on 11 count. This is 11, so the stitches are huge. I know that people have been using pearl cotton to stitch on 11 count. I don't have any pearl cotton. I think I've got like a little tiny bit of like ecru. And I didn't want to go and buy a whole bunch of pearl cotton in colors I already had. So I just use a whole schwack of floss. For the black outlining, I used 3 strands. Did I? I'm trying to count it. Yep. Yeah, that's right. I took 3 strands and folded them, so it actually turns out into 6. It's quite bulky, so for the flowers and leaves on the inside, I went back to using 2 folded around so that it's 4 strands. It's a little bit less intense looking. I don't really know if you can see that, but yeah, it's really fun. I really like this piece. And once it was stitched, because as you know, I like to stitch in hand, so once it was done, I was kind of like, oh, I really want to do some beadworking on this, but I don't want to try doing that in hand because it is a pain to bead stitch onto something like this in hand. So I found an art canvas that I have, and I stapled with my little stapler around the sides, and you can see all of this on the back. This is Nymo that I've used to just stitch right through. So this is getting fixed onto the artist canvas like that. So all of this, like in the background here that you see, this is all beaded. Just the flowers are, and the outline of the heart is floss. The rest is all beads. So let me just sneak in here a little closer. A little tricky. There you go. Yeah, that's all beads. They're check beads, and they're so cool. I think it's going to be so pretty when it's all done. I'm really excited. I'm just using the graph boxes of the Ada as my kind of guide to space them. So it's really easy. So those are kind of, this is some free embroidery, not cross stitch at all. It's my bird. It's some bohemian kind of style embroidery. This is the kind of bird I like. It hangs on the wall. It's not real. I really don't like birds. They bother me. I also have Cuphead. You like Cuphead? I think this Cuphead is really fun. I'm stitching this on 18, I want to say, count Ada. It's pretty fine. And I'm using 1 strand to get that sort of faded look that you would get back in the old days of CRT technology. So now I just have to stitch mug head over here, and then that'll be all done. And I don't think I will be beading this one at all. And there we go. This is my stump work in a little teeny tiny hoop. For those of you who don't know what stump work is, it's 3D embroidery. So you're making 3D elements with some wire that you couch, and then you buttonhole stitch it down, and then you fill it in with straight stitches. And then when you're done, you cut it out, and then very carefully, and then you take your tails that you've got down here, the wire tails, and you insert those into your existing embroidery, and you stitch them down very, very carefully on the back side. And then you can, because this is wire, you can bend it however you want it to go. So it's literally about as 3D as it gets. If you want an in-depth look at this, obviously there's lots of tutorials on YouTube. We're not done yet. Hang on. This is something I've been working on. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this already. It's a stitch along with the Witchy Stitcher, the Edgar Allan Poe design. That was her. She's an Etsy seller, and she's a really, really fun lady and a fun designer. And so what this is a stitch along where there's going to be 9 rooms in a haunted mansion, and it's the Universal Monster stitch along. So they're going to be like all classic horror film kind of characters. So this is our first installment here, is Phantom of the Opera, like the Lon Chaney character. So we've got obviously the Phantom with his rose, and there's going to be an organ right here that I haven't gotten to yet. But the whole top here took me, I don't know, a week probably to do. I've added beadworking. All of the ghosts have different colored beads for their eyes. So each ghost is an individual. And the beads here are glow in the dark. So these will glow in the dark, which is really fun. I even have used some of my glow in the dark floss for the candles. That's gonna glow, and the mask that the Phantom is wearing, that will glow as well. So I'm also gonna stitch the keys of the organ in glow in the dark, because it looks white in normal light, but it'll turn green and it'll look really cool in the dark. So I'm really excited for that. And I think I'm going to be able to slam this out probably today. That's my goal anyway. I'm also stitching the Seize the Day on Caterpillar Cross Stitches page if you want to get in on that. So if you want something basically the opposite in aesthetic, from this kind of darker, more kind of vintage, kind of primitive look, if you like brights and kind of less coverage, like if you want something that's a little quicker, like if you like Lizzie Kate and things like that, then you will adore Sally's patterns over at Caterpillar Cross Stitch. She's really, really cool for that. She's really good at she's a really good designer. So anyway, that is what I'm up to, but I do plan on doing a whole host of finishing, beadworking, all of that. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, if you want to see this channel grow and thrive, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!